The Cleveland Browns survived an ugly, scrappy grind in Week 3, and afterward, head coach Kevin Stefanski made the move a lot of fans were quietly bracing for. He announced Joe Flacco will remain the team's starting quarterback. That decision won't win any beauty contests. It won't erase the messy bits of Sunday's game. Flacco's 21 of 36 for 142 yards with one interception, an offense that sputtered for long stretches, and a third quarter that looked like Cleveland had forgotten how to move the ball. What it does do is illustrate the Browns' current calculus: stability, experience, and the belief that Flacco gives them the best chance to manage a banged-up roster through a brutal early stretch. The headline for most viewers was in the box score. Flacco's line was pedestrian. The offense struggled to sustain drives, yet Cleveland eked out a win, and that matters, both for Stefanski's short-term roster management and for the bigger question of who will lead the franchise when the team inevitably faces higher-stakes moments. Stefanski's logic was simple and practical. Despite the uneven performance, Flacco gave the Browns the best path forward right now. "He's our starter," Stefanski said after the win, signaling a vote of confidence that doubles as a message to the locker room and the front office. Why stick with Flacco now? Start with context. Cleveland was missing critical pieces up front. Starting tackles Jack Conklin, elbow, was inactive, and DeJuan Jones left the game early with an injury. Protection issues don't just make quarterbacks' numbers worse, they fundamentally rewire a playbook. When your blindside help is inconsistent and you're mixing backup linemen into the rotation, you need a steady hand who can deliver quick decisions, veteran pocket awareness, and leadership through chaos. Flacco checks those boxes more clearly than an unproven younger QB in this moment. There's also the reality of what happened late in the game. The Browns were sloppy much of the afternoon, but they manufactured a comeback, a blocked field goal and a last-second boot that sealed a win. That sequence isn't glamorous, but it's meaningful. Coaches and general managers often prefer a quarterback who can keep the ship afloat in messy conditions, who can handle pressure, and who won't panic when the plan unravels. Flacco's presence, his experience in crunch situations, and his demonstrated ability to manage games carries weight beyond completion percentage or yards. Then there's the roster construction and the developmental angle. Cleveland's quarterback room contains Dillon Gabriel as the backup and rookie Shedeur Sanders as the third stringer. Gabriel has shown flashes in practice and preseason, but hasn't yet earned the trust capital that motivates coaches to pull the plug midseason. Sanders is a developmental piece. His physical tools and upside are real, but he's not the plug-and-play answer right now. Flacco gives Stefanski a known baseline, a quarterback who won't be a major liability and who can be coached through mechanics and reads the staff trusts. That trust is especially critical, A, while the offensive line is in flux, and B, during a sequence of opponents who will pressure the Browns aggressively. The team's immediate schedule and injury log factor into the decision. If Cleveland wanted to pivot to a young QB, the staff would prefer to do so when the team's protection is cleaner and when the coaching staff can tailor a game plan to accelerate the rookie's learning curve. Dumping a young passer into a lineup missing key linemen is a high-risk move that often produces more harm than good. But holding Flacco as the starter is not an all-clear for the veteran. The game also exposed items that need urgent attention. Flacco must clean up the turnover risk and become more efficient in moving the offense between the 20s. The coaching staff must better scheme to his strengths under current personnel constraints. Quicker reads, more play-action looks that simplify decision-making, and a beefed-up emphasis on the running game and short to intermediate passing windows. Sending him out into standard 5-step drop situations with patchwork protection is a recipe for erratic results. The Browns need to win as a team, not ask Flacco to be a miracle worker. Offensive line is the clearest area for improvement, whether that's getting Conklin back sooner than later or shuffling personnel to find better chemistry. Cleveland's offense will be measured by how quickly it stabilizes the trenches. When the line holds, Flacco's decisions look cleaner, targets have time to develop, and the play calls broaden. Until then, Stefanski will likely keep dialing up simpler concepts that reduce the chance of negative plays and play action looks that allow Flacco to move the ball without needing to stare down deep progressions under duress. Special teams and situational football also deserve credit for this win. The blocked field goal and the closer's poise in neutralizing Green Bay late underscore that football outcomes are about more than QB stats. Those moments matter. Stefanski's message in sticking with Flacco is partly a recognition that Flacco and the supporting cast together provided enough of those moments to get a result, and wins by patience. What about the bench? Dillon Gabriel will continue to be the on-deck option, and it's fair to expect the Browns to keep a close eye on his developmental curve. He'll get more structured work in practice, targeted game scripts in case he's needed, and the coaching staff will evaluate readiness beyond just flashes. Shedeur Sanders, meanwhile, remains further down the timeline. The front office will balance the optics of development with the urgency of results. The NFL's calendar is merciless, and patience can evaporate quickly if production lags. For the fan base, the decision will prompt debate. Some will argue Cleveland should pivot to youth and start accelerating the rebuilding of a long-term answer under center. Others will urge caution. Draft capital, roster context, and the midseason wear and tear on a young QB counsel patience. From the team's perspective, the decision is less philosophical and more pragmatic. Flacco gives the Browns the best immediate chance to stabilize results while the offensive line and other parts of the roster heal. If there's a final sobering note, it's simple. This is a quarterback contingent season. Flacco's staying power will be measured in wins and steady command of the offense. If the Browns can stabilize protection and shorten third down distances, Flacco could convert this hold into a productive stretch that buys season 2 progress for the young guys. If struggles persist and the offense feels shackled by protection failures or predictable play calling, the staff will have to reassess quickly. For now, Stefanski's announcement closes the midweek debate and reopens a new one about execution. Cleveland chose continuity over disruption. It's a defensible, coachable approach in a season where every injury changes the narrative and every win can be a bandage. The next few games will tell whether that bandage holds or whether the Browns will need to rip it off and start fresh. Was Joe Flacco's rough night a blip or the moment the Browns start looking toward the future? Head coach Kevin Stefanski just made it clear. For now, Joe keeps the job. The scene, a muddy, messy Week 3 win that felt like two teams trying to remember how to play quarterback football. Flacco finished 21 of 36 for 142 yards with an interception, and the offense sputtered much of the night. Yet when the moment got loud, a blocked field goal and a last-second walk-off boot, Cleveland found a way to survive. After the dust settled, Stefanski stood in front of reporters and offered a simple, decisive line: Joe Flacco will remain the starter. Why that matters. Flacco is a veteran glue guy, steady in the locker room, experienced in 2-minute drills, and trusted to manage the game. And right now, the Browns' depth chart still favors experience over an audition. But the decision also raises questions. Flacco's stat line wasn't pretty, and with the offensive line repeatedly crippled by injuries, Jack Conklin out and DeJuan Jones exiting early, the production was handicapped. Stefanski's message: injuries and context matter. Don't judge the quarterback alone. Here's the football truth behind the call. First, Cleveland's tackles were limited. Protection collapses meant Flacco either threw into tight windows or took quick dumps that didn't move the needle. Second, the play calling at times aimed to be conservative. Let's avoid turnovers, own possessions, and that strategy shows up as low yardage when the